Hi, Jen here from Jen Michelle Coaching, and today I want to talk about how to deal with loneliness. This is a question that some of you have asked me to do a video on, and one that is really relevant in the sense that it can induce a lot of different emotions facing loneliness. We can make this mean all kinds of different things that do not serve us well. For those of you new to my channel, I would love to invite you to subscribe. I release a video weekly. So let's dive into this topic, how to deal with loneliness. Loneliness can lead to us feeling abandoned. It can lead to some of those deep, visceral patterns from our childhood being activated and create a really harsh narrative as a result. It can also lead to us abandoning ourselves, and we do the very thing that we need the very least in our lives. And so notice in yourself when you feel that sense of loneliness, do you go into abandonment? Do you blame yourself? Do you make yourself wrong? Do you numb it? Do you become a people pleaser and become overly compliant? What unconscious patterns get activated when you're lonely? You want to kind of notice if you start making yourself bad or wrong, or you go into these patterns that you experienced as a child. They're deeply subconscious, they're deeply hidden and layered. And instead, we want to develop a presence for ourselves. So when we do feel lonely, we're showing up to that emotional part of ourselves and staying really present to the experience and really meeting it with a lot of curiosity. What do we need? What would make us feel good? What would start building some momentum in the other direction? Where can we show up for ourselves where we break whatever we experienced and we don't do the very thing that hurts us the most, which is abandon ourselves in that loneliness, but show our inner little girl that we can weather the storm and that we can learn from it and access what lives on the other side of it. Number 2, identify practices that are new and that you've never experienced in your life. This is that concept of really reparenting. So like I talked about in example 1, we will go into what we know, what was modeled for us, what we experienced, whatever old narrative lives inside of us. And instead, we want to use that concept of inquiry and start building new practices that were never modeled for us growing up. But when we kind of get still and we turn inward and we access our intuition, we can ask that deeper part of us, what do you need? What would feel good? And your subconscious will communicate with you. You will get all kinds of interesting answers and ideas when you turn inward and access your intuition in this way. Maybe you want to go to the park and play. Maybe you want to read a new book or watch a movie or call a friend that is supportive and makes you laugh. Maybe you want to do some affirmations or some journaling or listen to music, but that deeper part of you will guide you. And it's so critical when you hear what would support you that you do that very thing, that you build that trust within yourself. Okay, we're going to move this direction. This is what we're going to do. And have that deeper intention of building off of this. And before you know it, you will be creating new, healthy coping mechanisms in your life that will heal this part of you so you don't go unconscious and go into some of those wounds or narratives that just no longer serve you on any level. Number 3, what are you making loneliness mean? This goes back to that idea of hidden and layered conditioning that lives within our world, our societies, our cultures, our families. What are you making it mean? Does it make you feel like you're unsuccessful? Whose voice is that talking to you? We want to really start to elevate ourselves and empower ourselves to take ownership and be proud of the life that we're living, even if it's sort of against the grain or against what society labels success. And we want to start to carve out our own path for success. So loneliness can be attached to a lot of narratives or a lot of labeling that isn't ours to own. And so we want to be so conscious of this so we start to define what success is. We start to define what wholeness is, what a full life is, and we create that path for ourselves. And The more we own and accept where we are, the more others stand in respect and awe of our path and our process, because we don't need permission to live our lives in the way that they say. We choose to live our lives in the way that feels natural, intuitive, accepting, and loving for ourselves. And so a lot of this practice is slowing down enough to notice those sneaky narratives where society tells you or family tells you this is the way it has to be in order to be good. And ask yourself, is that true? Is that mine to own? Or can I carve my new path and define what a successful, full, happy, loving life looks like for me? This is a really important question to turn to often so you can kind of flow with life versus move into that idea of having to force it to look a certain way that may not be based off your deep intuition versus falling in line with what was taught to us growing up. I hope that these 3 tips on how to deal with loneliness are really helpful to you in your situation. Please check out my website, jenmichellecoaching.com. Please look at my new digital program, Week of Wisdom. This gives you a deep dive into a lot of the concepts I talked about today, how to move into your feminine energy, how to just live a full, happy life in love and as a whole. Much love, and I'll see you all next week.